Hi there, welcome to Rauta. If I had to pick one of the worst names in bands for, say, the last few months, it would have been this one. Hellsodomy from Turkey. This is their second album called Morbid Cult. And the style in question is death thrash. Is it more about thrash? Is it more about death metal? Well, let's find out in a bit. But first, let's do a little bit of opening. That is called unboxing. Underneath of this CD you will find just plain white. So it's just gonna be a back cover for you to see, which obviously have these track listed. Saturnal Records release. And by the way, pardon for the sunlight trying to come on this video so badly. But what can you do? Spring is coming and my my curtains are not blocking all the light here. I'm just gonna move this a little bit. So here you have it. This cover, Hellsodomy. Now, Morbid Cult isn't much of a good title for a band, but obviously we're not gonna judge a band by the cover, by the name, or whatever. We're only going to judge it by the music. And to be honest, Hellsodomy's earlier album, that is their first album, the debut one, that was actually a pretty nice one. And I'm gonna tune you now to their Metal Archive site, so you can see a little bit of the basic information here. Founded in 2011, the first few years went rather slowly, it seems, and then something started to happen, and soon came the first releases, followed by their first album, Chaos Storm, which, like I said, was pretty nice death thrash album with the focus more on death metal. Now here you can see it says actually death metal. I think it's a little bit misleading because so many parts on this album and in general in the music is rather trashy. So calling it kind of a death thrash would be maybe more accurate, at least in my opinion. Now Morbid Cult is focusing even more on the thrash side versus the death side of the music. So now it's more like a kind of a 50-50 blend between these two styles. Now, nowadays it's of course kind of a trendy to call different styles black thrash, black death, death thrash and all that stuff. But if we go back to the late 80s and early 90s, you will figure out so many bands which were called just death metal had this kind of a thrash vibe. Even if we were talking about early Cannibal Corpse, early Morbid Angel and stuff like that, Possessed to Death, so forth, we will just focus on the music and notice there are lots of thrash elements. And same applies to so many old school first wave black metal bands also. I mean, think about Bathory and you will notice, even though it's called just black metal, there's a lot of thrash riffs in all of those four first albums, which are more or less just called black metal nowadays. But still, with Hellsodomy in question, it's kind of a hard to say whether it is kind of old school death metal because there is so much trash present, especially with the second album. And to be honest, it's not a bad idea. But compared to the Chaos Storm album, which came like 3 years before this, I think it's a step backward a little bit. Obviously, this comes to the matter of taste because some people will just prefer this more trashier way of doing this kind of old school death metal. But in my opinion, when Chaos Storm was more about death metal and thrash was more of a kind of a seasoning on the album, I think it kind of worked better. Now, Morbid Cult is no bad album at all. Actually, it's quite nice to listen to because the production and the vocals, they're all supporting each other. And as such, the outcome is pretty easy to listen, pretty easy to enjoy. But is it a memorable album? Not really. It's more like something that you have been listening to for the past 30 years already. I mean, if this came like 1989, that is some 30 years and then some ago, you will be like, okay, this is gonna be groundbreaking, this is gonna be one of those albums that is gonna mark in the pages of history, and this will be a something that people will be referring to later on. 30 years later, you're just like, okay, this is just one of those bands that have thrash and death metal elements. Pretty okay, nice production and growly vocals and all that stuff, but not beyond that. That being said, it's worthwhile taking a look, so find out for yourself. This is all from Rauta. Take care. Bye bye.